Hi, today I'm going to be looking at Shroud of the Avatar. Now, for me, the golden age of computing was really in the 80s, and there were lots of cool games back then, but the ones which I particularly admired was the Ultima series. Now, the Ultima series did a lot of stuff that was completely new. It had the concept of using the word avatar for your character in a video game. It had the first kind of attempts at 3D first-person dungeon exploration. It had one of the first kind of complicated inventory and crafting systems. It was in Ultima 7. It had one of the earliest kind of working isometric top-down um, camera systems. It was really a very, very advanced, very beautiful, story-driven, fun experience. You felt that you were in the world that they created. Now, then games moved on, and you had series like Diablo 1, Diablo 2. You had Warcraft 1 and 2, and these were great games. And the hack and slash kind of top-down isometric and the kind of real-time strategy type games, and this was great, and everything was very fun. But there came a point when things stopped being fun, and what I'm talking about is the kind of World of Warcraft, most recent Diablo type games, where the experience that you're having is not really that you're going into a world and you're getting immersed in the story and the narrative and you're role-playing your character. You're kind of doing a second job, which is about leveling up and getting slightly better equipment, checking which weapons are better, completing very repetitive missions. And the idea is that it seems to focus more on kind of addictive, repetitive tasks than on having fun. And that is because of monetization. And it's enjoyable in a kind of like a flash game kind of way, but it isn't role playing. It stopped being role playing. And the game reviewer Yahtzee of Zero Punctuation, what he said was that after a while, all online role playing games all MMOs start becoming like World of Warcraft. And then it becomes only a matter of which you've invested the most time in that decides which you play. So if you look at the most recent Elder Scrolls, that was a fantastic series. But if you look at the most recent Elder Scrolls, the online game, it's enjoyable and it's very pretty, but it isn't a role-playing game. It doesn't. You're not immersed in the game. All you really have to do is look for the character with the exclamation point on your map, run up to him. You don't need to read the dialogue. You'll just get a new marker on your map, you kind of run over there, and then you'll either have to kill a specific number of things, or it may be more complicated, like you have to click on a pillar, or find a skull and place it on a pedestal, or pull a lever or something. But primarily what you're going to be doing is it doesn't really matter. You don't need to read anything. You're just running around, and then you run back again, and then you'll get some XP or gold or whatever. And why I think this game is going to be special is because I think that this could be the beginning of a second golden age of role-playing games. This game and a game which I looked at recently called Revival. And there's a few key features here which I think indicate that it's going to be very good. The main thing which I've enjoyed about this game is that when you talk to NPCs, you talk to them like they're normal characters. So even if you go way back to the kind of very early Ultima games from the 80s, you used to type a character, you'd say like name, and they would say, oh, my name is Smith, or job, I am an armorer. You have the same kind of interaction in this game, and they will give you missions, but those missions they don't appear in a kind of flashing kind of journal. You have to make your own notes, and if there may be several different morally ambiguous outcomes, and you can choose between them based on your character and based on your play style. And in fact, in the Revival game, the way you find out about quests isn't even like that. You find out about quests from finding an old dusty tome in a library, which reveals some plot information to you, or maybe you overhear some NPCs discussing something, and then you get involved in that, or you actually have a dedicated dungeon master who comes up with a quest for you. But that's not what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about this game. Shroud of the Avatar. Now this game is an Ultima reboot. It is Ultima in every way. The only thing that's not Ultima about it is the name, because the Ultima series belongs to Origin, which was the company set up by Richard Garriot, aka Lord British, and that this is another crowd-funded Kickstarter based, but now off their website game. It's in pre-alpha, and like all of Richard Garriot's games, it's primarily a story-driven, pretty much free, very large, or it feels very large world. Now, at the moment, it's very far from being complete. So there's a number of things about it which are kind of underwhelming. They're still really working on the combat system. Some of the animations are a little bit rough around the edges. The crafting system is a little bit basic, and it can also appear a little bit, I mean, ugly in parts. This is, if you look at this character, he's not, you know, impressive. But that is, I think, a good sign, because what Richard Garriot has said, and if you've seen any of his other projects, you'll know that he's telling the truth when he says these things, is that he is really not focusing on making things look pretty or creating impressive short videos, you know, for Gamescom or whatever. He's focusing on actually building up game mechanics which are fun, original, and which are based around an RPG experience, not just based around you know, flash and showing off and selling it as a concept. So what's interesting in this game right now is that you can buy property. So this actually is somebody's property, and I don't know if we can go in here or not. And this guy outside here is selling stuff that belongs to that player. They do wipes every now and then, so most probably people haven't actually decorated their home, but this is the largest home that you can buy, and it's kind of empty. But you can purchase a home right from a cottage up to you know, a stately kind of keep like this, and obviously the money goes into development. You don't have to. You do have to pay to play though. It's not free to play. There will be 5 games, and what's really good in my opinion is that all the games will be playable offline. So if you decide that, you know, you're not interested in the MMO experience, you can still have the full kind of old school role-playing game experience. But the way that the game designers, and particularly Richard Garriot, are really trying to push this is to encourage proper cooperative team play in a way that's actually enjoyable for everybody. So not the typical kind of everybody running off crazy kind of disorganized role-playing. Like the only interaction you would have with other characters would be while you're standing in town, you see a guy with kind of amazing armor sprint past you, go and buy something and then sprint out again. What the aim of this game is to kind of build more of a community, which is what Richard Garriot tried to do as well with Ultima Online, and I think quite successfully. So, but even if you're not interested in that, I would recommend getting in on this game. There is about 2 weeks left of the summer sale where you'll be able to buy discounted property in game if you want that, and you'll also be able to buy physical kind of physical boxed games with goodies. Now, one of the things which Ultima did, which made it really special, was that it always sold really pretty boxes, and they had kind of feelies in them. So you get a big cloth map. You might get you get a little silver coin. You get different coins of the realm. You get lots of books written in kind of old English, like thee and thou, and they'd all be printed nicely with like kind of sketched illustrations of the creatures. And it was they put an awful lot of effort into presentation, and it all helped kind of make that connection between you and the game appear less artificial, more of a kind of a real experience. I was going to show you the combat deck here if we're going to hassle this bear. So what we can do here is, as in order to try and make it more dynamic, what you can do changes in here. So at the moment I can do only these 2 spells, but it's kind of random which ones I'll be able to cast. So he's a tough bear, and I think he's going to kill me, so I'll just heal a bit. I'm like a level 3 character, so I'm not really good against bears. And then these things can kind of be combined. So sometimes if you have to know what they're called glyphs, and you kind of prepare a deck of them before the battle, and if you know what they do, which I kind of don't, you can combine your sword. I have a spear, that's the problem, because I can't use any of my sword abilities because I'm not holding a sword. But normally I'd be able to combine, for example, my my Fist of Fire, or whatever it's called, with my Starry Sword skill. So then I'd have a kind of fiery stab. So I'm going to run away now because this bear's going to kick my ass. So what was I saying? Yep. So there's physical collector's boxes, and if you're interested in that, they're going to run out shortly. For me, a big part of the Ultima series is the collections, and I have lots of Ultima collectible stuff, and they're becoming kind of super valuable right now. If you look on eBay at what the old games, if you have any of them, you might want to think about looking after them, because they are becoming very collectible, especially the very early ones before it became kind of very big in Europe. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say about Shroud of the Avatar. So I'll put a link to the game website in the video comments, so you can check it out. Thanks.